Now previously I made a video on the most important belts in Muay Thai. Mostly because I'm just a fan of Muay Thai and also because I see the rising popularity of it in the West and the rest of the world. And on top of that, I'm just a fan of all striking combat sports like Muay Thai and of course kickboxing, my personal favorite. And today we're going to be covering the most important kickboxing belts in the modern era. Let's go. The Glory Kickboxing Belt. Now, to a lot of Americans, such as myself, Glory is the most notable organization that we know of and also the most notable belt that we know of. This is in part to Glory actually doing a good amount of events in the United States, and also Glory being, once upon a time, on UFC Fight Pass. On top of the meteoric rise of Alex Pereira in the UFC, a Glory kickboxing legend, and also Israel Adesanya, a former Glory kickboxing fighter, it's clear to see why a lot of people in the United States know of Glory kickboxing, at least in retrospective, due to both of these guys. And of course their past relationship with the UFC. Glory has also had many legends hold their belts, such as Rico Verhoeven, Bazooka Joe Valtellini, Gabriel Varca, Petch, and many others. On top of that, Glory has a very solid ranking system and very good production quality. I absolutely love the way Glory looks. And on top of that, they have open scoring and a 5-judge system, a thing they rarely ever get credit for because it's a thing people have always wanted in things such as the UFC and MMA and even in boxing. But here they are doing it and they rarely ever get credit for that because they don't have a big history of robberies, or at least that I know of. Also, Glory is the only fight promotion that I can think of right now in all of combat sports that actually differentiates their interim belts from their undisputed belts. And they distinguish the two champions, the interim and the actual champion, by the color of their belts. The interim champion holds a silver belt, which is still a very beautiful belt, and the normal champion or the undisputed champion holds the nice gold proper belt. So it's really cool stuff to look at. So as you can see, I like Glory Kickboxing a lot. They're a very solid kickboxing organization with good fighters, good champions, and overall, their belt is worthy of a championship kickboxer. On to the next. The One Championship Kickboxing Belt. Now, in recent memory, One Championship was absolutely killing it with kickboxing. Having an absolute monstrous roster of kickboxers. Having excellent fighters on the roster like Niki Holtzkin, Joe Nadawa, Roman Kriklia, Georgia Petrosian, Chingiz Alevzov, Superbon. And on top of that, their Muay Thai fighters would often transition over to the kickboxing scene. So basically, one could never run out of fighters for the kickboxing matches. However, in recent memory, one has actually been neglecting their kickboxing quite a bit, unfortunately. And this makes sense, as on the global scale, they absolutely run Muay Thai, and there's far less competition for them to compete with than there is in kickboxing. And that's a shame, because we've seen what One Championship kickboxing can be like at its height, and it's absolutely fantastic. We get absolutely stacked Grand Prix for their awesome silver belt. We get very enticing fights between up-and-coming stars and legends of the sport. And with One's very good ability to market their fighters and their stars, it's overall just a very good product. Now, despite One putting kickboxing on the back burner, it's still a pretty solid product, and they still have pretty exciting matches when they do put them on. And on top of that, the One Kickboxing Championship belt is just a beautiful belt. It's been held by legends of the sport and future legends of the sport, so absolutely the One Championship Kickboxing belt is one of the most important titles out there and possibly the most important one. But that depends on who you ask. That's just my opinion. On to the next. The Rise Kickboxing Belt. Now, Rise is a pretty interesting promotion to me. They usually go under the radar because of their lower production quality and also using smaller venues in Japan. And also because they rarely ever market outside of Japan, or Asia for that matter. And because of that, it's pretty hard to actually watch them live unless you know what a Bima TV is. However, despite all this, they still house some of the best kickboxers in the world, with individuals such as Toki Tamaru, Kazuki Osaki, Chad Collins, and of course the legendary Tenshin Nasukawa. On top of that, they've recently been cross-promoting with Glory Kickboxing as well, with fighters from both promotions appearing on each other's shows. Which is fantastic for the sport because we'll get more exciting matchups and champion versus champion fights. And the fact that Rise is co-promoting with Glory Kickboxing at all, let alone that a good number of their fighters are actually beating out their fighters in their matches, is absolute proof that Rise is a promotion, and of course their belt is worthy of a world champion and one of the most important belts a fighter can win today. Other than that, on to the next. The K1 belt. Okay, now K1 really needs no introduction. Anyone who knows anything about combat sports has heard of K1 kickboxing. The history of their heavyweight division is absolutely the stuff of legends. It was so awesome that people literally forgot about all the other amazing matches and tournaments that happened at the lighter weight classes. With smaller legends, literally, such as Masato Kobayashi, Mike Zambitis, Albert Cross, and Buaka. And since its glory days in the 2000s, K1 has definitely waned in popularity by a notable amount. But in pretty recent memory, it's made quite the comeback. And the stars of their modern era are ironically in the lighter weight classes, with K1's megastar being the amazing Takeru Sagawa. On top of that, their Grand Prix tournaments are still going strong, although without the same production quality that they once had. But hey, unlike with Rise, we can actually watch their Grand Prix tournaments via Fight TV. So the fact that we can actually watch it as Westerners is in and of itself a win. But anyway, as said before, K1 is legendary, their current belt is absolutely gorgeous, and with its slow and steady resurgence, it as a promotion and most definitely its beautiful belt are worthy of a world champion. And last but not least, the ISKA belt. It belongs on the Muay Thai list, and it definitely belongs on the kickboxing list. The sheer volume of legends that have won this belt in the past and in the present speak volumes of the value of this belt in the kickboxing scene. And despite this belt having less of a presence overall compared to the others, largely in part to the belt not being tied to any promotion in particular, it tends to fly under the radar a bit to the point that some people even forget it's a thing sometimes. But despite that, it is still an absolutely important belt in the kickboxing scene and one of the most important ones you can win in general. But despite all that, ISKA gets a good amount of hate by a lot of people for some reason. I think I know why. And I think that's because Andrew Tate actually won one of their kickboxing belts, specifically their cruiserweight full contact kickboxing belt. And with Tate's kickboxing style being quite awkward, a lot of people think he's a bad fighter, which I disagree with. I think he's a solid kickboxer overall, regardless of what he's done in real life. But because of who he is and how he fought, a lot of people go, oh, Tate won the belt, then the belt must just not be very good, it's a trash belt. And that's just a very dumb leap in logic in my opinion. That's like saying Andrew Tate won the ISKA belt. I guess Ernesto hoosed his ass too, because he won one as well. Oh, CM Punk fought in the UFC welterweight division? I guess GSP is ass, because he fought there too. It's like, come on man, let's not be stupid here. But regardless of that, the ISKA belt is still absolutely a legendary belt, both in the past and in the present, and it's most definitely a belt you would want to win if you want to really put your presence on the world of kickboxing. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. If you disagree with what I had to say, please let me know in the comments below. We can talk there because I love reading comments. And please, if you can, like and subscribe. It absolutely helps the channel. I really want to grow the sport of kickboxing and Muay Thai, and I love talking about it. Other than that, thank you for even being here, and have a nice day.